I'm Chef Jasper, and today we're in the kitchen making a kind of Italian dish, kind of a French dish. We're braising chicken, and we're using some oranges and pears, a little bit of Chianti. You're gonna absolutely love it, and it's not difficult to make at all. So let's get this started. First of all, we need to put a little bit of butter in the pan, and of course, you can use oil. It doesn't really matter, but the butter has so much more flavor. We'll melt this butter, and what we really want to do before anything really gets started is dust our chicken with a little bit of flour. And we don't want to have a coating, or, we don't want it to be real crispy because we're going to braise it. But we want to get it nice and brown. And I also have another little secret that you're going to absolutely love. We use a little bit of paste, tomato paste, and it kind of makes a little difference in the flavor, which is very good, gives it a lot of depth. But also, it browns our chicken. We do that with short ribs and some other meats, but you're gonna like this, I guarantee you. So, let's get our chicken now. Of course, I like thighs. You ask any chef, they're gonna tell you they like chicken thighs. Breasts are okay, wings are okay, legs, it doesn't matter. I get a whole chicken and I'll just cut it up into 8 pieces and I'll use that also. But for this dish, I like to use the thighs. Okay, so let's get this, and just a little dust, that's all, of the flour, not much. Our butter is just starting to melt. We don't want to burn this at all. We don't want to brown this at all. So we'll just put this, okay, skin side down on the first. And then we'll take it after that and turn it over. But I like to start with the skin side down. Be careful. We don't want to, really stuff that pan too much and not have room to actually cook. So 5 or 6 thighs should do the work for you. Okay. Finish this up here. And then I'm also going to just lightly salt these while they're in the pan. Just give it a little flavor. We're going to have enough salt and pepper in the pan, but I still like to give it a little bit more. All right, so let's add some salt and pepper to this. Of course, not a lot, just enough for, give it a little flavor. It's going to be bursting with flavor also, so we don't really have to worry about it. But we could use a little salt. A lot of chefs feel that when you salt a product while it's in the pan, you're going to release a lot of juices. But you noticed I put the skin side down. So I'm getting the inner part of the chicken with the salt, and it'll bring the flavor. When I turn it over, it'll give it a nice little crust also. Let this cook down. We're going to braise it. Takes about 8 to 12 minutes maybe on each side, maybe a little bit less. We'll see when it starts going. And then we'll chop up some shallots and reduce it down. Start cooking with that tomato paste and all. It's going to be a wonderful dish. In the meantime, while that chicken is sauteing, let's get some shallots out here. Now look here. This is one thing I absolutely love. I'll take a shallot over an onion anytime. It's in the same family, of course, but I don't know. It just has a little more flavor to me. And I like to always say, I can work with shallots. Sometimes the onions are a little too big and this and that. Maybe some people just don't want, the onion flavor in there. You can hide a shallot. Yes, you can actually hide a shallot in the dish. So let's just peel this back a little more. I don't like to waste this at all, so take as little as I can off the outside of this. I always have my stock pot going for all my scraps. All right, let's just chop these up. And of course, if you really want to hide them, you can just mince them as fine as you can. You can even put them in a food processor. But I like a little bite to these, so I think that's about enough. Maybe we'll just go a couple times. We're not looking for any perfect cuts here by no means. All right, let's get this a turn here in just a second. I think we have a little browning coming up here, about as much as we need. We're not trying to fry it, like I said earlier, like fried chicken. We don't want that. Look at that coloring. That's what we want right there. And at this point, I'll salt this side. But not pepper. I'm not looking for any more pepper. kind of tuck that skin under there. Keep that together. It already looks just perfect. All right. Such great flavor right now. At this point, I think we can add our shallots. We'll add them in between the pieces of chicken here. Kind of move those around. And really, it's up to you how many shallots you want to put in there. That was a nice big one, so I think that's really all I needed right there. All right. Get that going here. Now, what are we doing? You know, it's going to be building layers and getting such great flavor out of this. At this point, a lot of people would add the wine and start reducing because the chicken is really, it's cooked enough, it's browned enough. But I'm going to add a little bit of tomato paste at this point. Now, sometimes when I'm cooking, if I'm doing bones or something like that, and, you know, short ribs, I'll actually paint the short ribs and before I put them into the oven. But here we're just going to put this into the pan. It also is going to help not only with the flavor of the sauce, it's going to brown, but it's going to help thicken our sauce too. Paste actually thickens. My mother always used paste, only because really it was inexpensive, you know, during economic times or whatever. You know, they would use it in their sauce, and you can add a lot more water to it. Well, I'm adding a liquid broth. I'm adding chicken, and I'm at chicken base, chicken broth, and I'm adding some red wine. But look, now this is where it's important. We're just going to scrape the bottom of this once it starts cooking. All right, that's about it right there. And just let that cook down again a few more minutes. Okay, here we go. Just what we wanted. Shallots are cooking. They're almost finished. The chicken is nice and brown on both sides. And like I said, I'm going to paint some of this chicken also. It's about what we want right now. And this is really going to help with our sauce. Scrape that bottom as much as possible. That's where all our flavor is. Talk about building layers. This is it. And at this point, I think we're ready. Let's reduce it with a little bit of wine. See what I mean by reducing? We add a little bit. We just don't add a whole cup at one time. Let that cook down a little bit. This is it right here. At this point, we're infusing the wine into the chicken. Just look at that sauce that we've created with that tomato paste and that red wine. And look how much it's already reduced in just a minute. All right, let's add the rest of the wine. We'll add our cherry preserves. That's right, cherry preserves. Where did I learn this at? Oh, I was in Tuscany. And I'm at a small little restaurant, and I could not figure out the sauce for nothing. But I noticed there were some cherries in this. So I figured maybe it was dried cherries. The sauce wasn't sweet by no means, so I think the red wine probably kind of overcame it. And that's what happens with this dish here. And also, again, just like that tomato paste, it helps thicken the sauce up. We like that a lot. Okay, let's add a little bit more of the cherry preserves. Finish that up. And you can kind of judge at this point, do I need more sauce in this or not, more red wine? You know, you can kind of look at the dish and kind of tell at this point. And now we will add some fresh rosemary. You can either add the whole stem just like this right here, it doesn't matter, or just strip it just like this right here. I also like to garnish with this a lot, but So that should be about enough. And we're just going to throw these right in here while it's cooking. We're going to have to add some salt, of course, for flavoring. Just a little bit more salt, not much. Okay. A little bit of brodo. What's brodo? Chicken broth. Now we're going to give this all a nice stir. And of course, what do we need to do while it's braising before I put that lid on there and really finish it? And you can finish it on the stove, or you can actually put it in the oven to finish up. That's up to you. But at this point, I need to kind of get everything going here, making sure everything's mixed up. I am going to add, because we don't want to add it too early, a little bit of butter. It kind of brings everything together. And our oranges. We're just going to quarter these oranges. That's all. Nothing to it. Yes, skin on, because when it's braising, oh, you're going to like that a lot. So here's another little trick. We add the oranges, but then a little more citrus flavor, because this dish really becomes nice citrus flavor. Don't worry about those seeds. Matter of fact, I don't have any on this one, so we're good. There we go. That's what we're going to do with the rest of that. How about that? And pears. Now, I brought some pears to this dish, but I may use them for flavor, but I also want them to kind of cook down a little bit, but not where it's to a point where we can't see the pear at all. So I'm only going to put in one pear at the beginning, okay? Just one. And then we will put the other pear about 3/4 through the cooking process. Just put that right in there. And just, I leave the skin on, of course. You could do this with plums. You could do this with apples. That's up to you. And here we go. Just finish that up. Some nice slices. Put them right in that wine and brodo mixture. Give it a nice little stir and make sure everything's just cooking down properly. Oh, you can smell that citrus in this dish. I really like that. And this is all going to come together here in just a few minutes, and then I can put the lid on. But before I do anything else, of course, I want to do a little tasting. So let's look at this and see where we are. Oh, yeah. Perfect on the amount of salt. Just perfect. Rosemary's starting to come up, but not enough yet. That's why this needs to really cook down and braise. Let it go for another 30 minutes with the lid on, and I'm telling you, you're going to have a wonderful dish. Okay, I'm just finishing up this last pear that we're going to add to this. I really think at this point, the dish is 90% finished. The pear is more just for, you know, a little crunch, a little bite into it. It's still going to cook down a little bit more. And that's it. That's all we have to do at this point. Was this an easy dish or what? Okay, I'm excited for this now. Oh, yeah. Look at that, will you? Just perfect. I'm going to brag about this dish. Put those last pears, but those other pears held up pretty well, but for a little crunch, like I said. Man, oh man, the coloring on this chicken right now. The smell in this kitchen. See what I mean about these pears? Look how nice and soft they are. In just 30 minutes. That's what we want. But I still need the other ones for a little crunch. Those oranges, you can even eat the oranges. I'm telling you, the skin on those oranges, such great depth with the citrus flavor. This is it. I don't think I need to do anything else to this dish. This is one dish that I cannot wait to serve my family and friends. Braised chicken, of course, Chianti braised. A little bit of rosemary, of course, some pears and citrus. It doesn't get any better in the kitchen. I hope you enjoy as much as I will serving you. brought to you by Hen House Markets.